How you doing, baby? Happy Wednesday. And today on Coffee and Conversation with your girl, Shakenya. I can't wait to have my own show because I'm going to have that man in the announcer box say that every morning. Yeah, when you get a minute, go to that YouTube channel, Shakenya. I love to see hearts. Thank you. And hit subscribe, guys. Look at some of the videos. And if you see anything that you like, just hit share, please. I'm still trying to be famous here. Help a sister out. Yeah. Just finished crying. I know I cry every morning. It don't take much, right? So I'm in the car with my Lyft driver. Yep. I'm so bougie now. I feel like I'm getting chauffeur driven everywhere. So yeah, I'm so bougie with it, right? So yeah, and her daughter calls her, right? And she got me on speakerphone. So the daughter said, I didn't want anything. I'm just calling to say good morning. You know, so she like, good morning, baby. How you doing? Blah, blah, blah. So they just chit-chatting on speaker. It's early in the morning, you know. And then she like, yeah, I didn't want nothing. I see on my location thing, you said, so she like, oh, you got me on location? So we laughing. She laughed. I'm in the conversation because y'all got me on speaker, so I'm laughing too, right? I mean, you know, they end their call and whatnot. She's like, oh, that's my daughter, you know, just calling to check on her. And you know what? It triggered me when I had to bring the tears back in. You know, I ain't let them come down. I'm trying to be rough and tough in the back of this lady car. So I didn't let them come down, but it was triggering for me. Like, do you know your triggers? The stuff that bothers you, that gets you worked up, and when you need to pull out or when you need to leave, like, yeah, it's a trigger for me seeing people with their daughters, mothers and daughters, and I know that's not right, and I try not to let it upset me and ruin my whole day, you know, but it does hurt me because I know what that feeling is like. You know what I'm saying? And that's part of my psychological damage, because that's what we're talking about today, you know, the psychological damage and the part that it plays when these manipulation tips are used against your child, on your child, against you, right? So yeah, we're talking about it. So yeah, that bothers me sometimes when I see love and relationships, because I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like when I was treated as mom, when my daughters respected me, when they treated me like they loved me, I know what that feels like, you know. So to not have it, so we're still talking about the manipulation tips that I told you about in your 9th grade year. And now we're looking at the adverse effect that it has on not just the child that was removed from you and taken out, but the other children. Do you think about the other kids and how they are affected and what's going on with them and how they feel and how they dealing with the loss? Like, have you guys actually went into therapy? Hey, L.A. Deans. How you doing, Michael? Hey, Banky. Because, see, a lot of that gets missed when you dealing with manipulation tips and you dealing with a parent that's trying to get back at you, and that's the only mission that they have in life. It ain't never been about working towards raising the baby with you. It's always been about dismissing you, eliminating you, getting you out the picture. That's been the only thing. Yeah, because it's not hard to work with your baby mama, your baby daddy. It should be even easier because y'all done took all the personal out. Y'all not sleeping together. Y'all ain't messing around. You can care less what he doing. So it's like, what is y'all mad about? What is y'all arguing about? The only thing that really should upset you is if that baby is being mistreated. If that baby is being abused and if that baby is being neglected, then that's when you should have a problem with that parent. But if that parent is doing everything they're supposed to do, like, it was a no-win for me. It was nothing that I could have done that would have kept that baby in my life without that daddy being in my corner, being on my side, us working together. There is no way. Because you can't do it by yourself. No, you can try. You can do the best you can, but you can't do it by yourself, right? So we're talking about this effect that it'll have. And do you know that some people would think about it? Because you got to think about it. To put, hey, Jeffries, to put it in motion, to get it going, to get people to believe you and buy into whatever story that you're trying to sell about this parent. Because people got to be on board with it. They got to think that I'm the devil. Yeah, he got to make it that way. First of all, because it ain't too many daddies that's going to try to get the babies away from the mamas. Ain't too many daddies going to do that. I don't have too many situations. Since I've been going through what I've been going through, I've actually spoken to 3 mothers that has called and inquired about the attitude adjustment program. And we've talked and figured out that the dad is doing this and doing that. And it was like, oh my God. You know, so we were on the same page. But it was only about 3 or 4 mothers that I've spoken to in the last 4 years that this has happened to. Daddy's not doing that. So for a daddy to do it, and then you got to understand how much emphasis I put on fatherhood. I know everything that I did went against me. But It won't go against you. Yeah, everything I tell you on these coffee and conversations is right. Please do it. Yeah, only reason why it worked against me because I had somebody that was working against me. Right? Yeah. So you got to think about the emphasis I put on fatherhood. I raised fatherless children, meaning that my boys didn't have a dad in their life. Although I placed male role models in their life and positive men in their life for them to, follow, look at, emulate. They didn't have their biological dads in their life, right? But I made such an emphasis and put such an emphasis on the importance of dads being in their children's lives. My dad being in my life. I just made it a thing. I created an illusion of this. You know what I'm saying? You have to, as a single mom, you have to. So for the fact that my boys are fathers in their children's lives, you got to understand how much importance I put on fatherhood. And you got to know that I love my black men. I got a whole page dedicated to y'all. Called Hey Black Man. Yep. I believe in speaking to me in a certain way. Yep. I believe in women standing in their place, standing behind their man. Yeah, I put such emphasis on. So you got to understand, if I put this on the male species and I made my children respect this male that I'm going through what I'm going through with, you got to understand, if he pulls some cards and pulls some punches and pull the baby out, people are going to have to look at that. Because why? I never talk bad about this man. I've always had the utmost respect for this man. I made the baby respect him. Remember when she hollered at him over the phone? And I chin checked her and he heard it. So yeah, you got to understand that. So the fact that he did what he did and how he did it, I was challenged by an adult. So any and everything that I have ever did is questioned. As a mother. Fix it, Jesus. Yeah, my damage. I know, ain't that crazy? So he knew exactly what he was doing when he pulled the baby out of our life. Yeah. He didn't think about, and if he did think about it, he didn't care. Hey, Charles, hey, Haywood, how that was going to affect my sons. How do you think my children feel about their sister just being pulled out for no reason whatsoever and not having no relationship, no communication, nothing with her siblings? How is that possible? Because you got to think about how they were being raised under my roof. Yeah, I've always loved, like, my dad married when I was young, so him and his bonus wife, they had 3 children, and I've always loved how close they were. Right? So I always said if I had children, I wanted my children's relationship with their siblings to be so strong. I want them to know that all they have is each other. I want them to know this. So I made sure I raised my children to take care of one another. Like the boys do the girls' hair. They cook for each other. They there for each other, listen to each other's problems. They were there for each other supportively, emotionally. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, this is how I raised them. So to know that they have no relationship right now is a nightmare for me. And to know that nothing was done to cause this. Meaning that nothing that I have done, nothing that I have done. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm not saying I don't make mistakes as a parent, but there is nothing humanly possible that I would have done to cause a rip in the relationship with my children, or to, if I've even encouraged them to still keep in touch with one another, even though things are going on the way they're going on. And I got a DM the other day asking why would I do that? Because that's a wild card. Yeah. Because if you got a child that's disrespecting you, don't have a relationship with you, of course they're going to spew out a lot of stuff that's not pleasing to possibly get the other children to side with them. That's a possibility. But it's also a possibility that the children that you still have a relationship with can possibly reach that other child and bring that child back over. So yeah, it's a wild card. It can go either way. Hey, Otis, how you doing? How you feeling, baby? Hey, love, how you doing, William? Good morning, Latrell. I'm gonna call you later on today. Yeah, so it's a wild card. So yep, I encourage it because in my hopes was that the child that they still had a connection with would eventually bring them on in, but it didn't go that way. It's still been 4 years and I still haven't heard from my baby. So yeah, it didn't go that way. And actually, yeah, so it can go either way. but I still encourage it because that's what I want to see. Yep, you gotta, just like you gotta be the change that you want to be. I feel like all the issues and everything in society when it comes to us as a people, your children, you have to use them in a way to get it out the way, to be done with it. You have to use your children. So there's certain things I feel you should instill in your babies. Like right now, we should only be supporting each other. I'm 50 years old. So throughout these generations, every 10 years, it should be some type of shift. If we've all teaching our children to buy black and support one another, there is no way we shouldn't have grocery stores, gas stations in our community, in our city. Because if we've all these years been buying black and only supporting our own, there's no way that shouldn't be right now, right? I'm just saying. So, yeah, you should be changing things. So me changing, making sure that my children have a good relationship, and then not to have it. That's why I say you got to have an ounce of love and respect for your baby mama and your baby daddy when y'all break up. You got to. You got to. You got to respect them. You got to respect their household. You got to still love them. And you still got to love those children, even if they're not yours. Yeah, the children that you leave behind, the children that you help raise, the children that you have a bond with, I feel like you should still be in those children's lives in some capacity, even after the breakup. So therefore, I can't imagine why nobody thought about how my children were going to turn out if that baby was pulled out. I don't understand for the life of me. My children always treated these people with respect. Like I don't understand why nobody thought about all of my children. All of my children. So by me raising my children to take care of one another, I also raise my children to respect one another. Meaning that, you know how the oldest get to sit in the front, the oldest get privileges. So therefore, when I leave the oldest in charge, you are to listen to the oldest. You are to do what the oldest tell you to do, because this is what I'm teaching. This is a good way to teach your children respect, period, right? So respecting one another, listening to one another. Yeah. So my oldest, 2 boys and a girl, they should be able to tell her something. Why? Because they were raised in that manner to where she is to listen to them. But when you don't have love and respect for your baby mama and your baby daddy, and you just be doing whatever you want to do, you can mess all that up. You can shift the dynamics in that other person's household. You can cause distress in that household. You can break up whatever it is they're trying to build in that household. Yep, just by not respecting the dynamics of their household, right? If one of them, him or his mother or anybody on that side, if they told her, just as simple as saying, you don't have to listen to them because they're not your mama and your daddy. I know, and that's something that you probably tell your kids, right? But if you have a baby mama and a baby daddy, and you know that they raising in their household their children a certain way, and if you know that the dynamics of the household consist of that baby listening to the people older than her, you wouldn't tell that baby that. You wouldn't tell that baby that. But if you were a manipulative parent and you trying to take advantage of the situation, you would use that as a manipulation technique. Yeah, constantly tell. So now you got a baby that feels like they don't have to listen to nobody. Not only not have to listen to those children that's older than them, that can tell them something because they've been here before, but now you're giving this kid the green light to it. They ain't really got to listen to nobody. So, gotta have an ounce of love and respect. And so now let's look at some of the effects that can possibly happen, and the psychological damage that happens to the children that's left behind. Yeah, what are some of the things they can possibly be struggling with, to where they growing up with a sibling and then all of a sudden they don't see their sibling no more? How do you think they feel about that loss? How do you think they're dealing with the emotions and the feelings that they have for their sibling that they don't see no more? Right? So they might not feel good enough. Yeah. They might not feel worthy. Yeah. They might feel like they did something wrong. So now they're reputing back in their mind the times when the child used to come over and visit, or if the child lived with them, when they told them, don't play with my toys, or take my shirt off. You know, now they think, was that the reason why the child not coming back no more? Is it their fault? Now they blaming themselves? Oh my God. Now their confidence is shook. Now they having emotional issues. And we're not gonna throw in the resentment, the abandonment issues, the trust issues, and oh my God, is that depression knocking at the door? So the kids left behind is left to deal with all of this now. So yesterday I got a couple of people that were under the video, you know, making comments and saying what they were saying. And one of them had a good point. A couple of them had good points. But one of them was like, you know, that's a lot of pressure that you're putting on your daughter to say that because of her leaving, that's the reason why everybody else is not progressing or being where they're supposed to be. And I said, no, they put a lot of pressure on her when they convinced her to go against her mother. You don't never go against your mother. Who would teach their child that? You're supposed to teach your child that. Just like I was teaching her to respect him, somebody on the other side should have been teaching her to respect me, right? So the children are left to deal with this. So when they made that comment, yeah, that was the pressure. I didn't put pressure on her. She should have just been doing what she's supposed to do, and that's respecting her mother. There's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing that I was doing wrong for her not to want to respect me, right? I'm doing the same thing I've been doing. I'm on my way to work now. Yeah. So what you've been seeing that these last three or 4 years you've been following me, that's what my children have seen their whole life. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Frederick. Hey, TJ. Yep. Hey, Albert. Yeah. So therefore, the representation, the imagery, she why wouldn't she want to be like me? Why wouldn't they encourage her to want to be like? Why? Fix it, Jesus. Fix it. Because that's going into my psychological damage. Because that's supposed to make me feel less than. Make me feel like I'm not worthy. Make me feel like... So the same issues that the kids are going through, you might experience them as well. So don't think that that child that's been taken out your life not experiencing these same issues. So you see the pictures, you see that baby living their best life without you. They happy. Don't believe that. Because if you're experiencing these things and the children that you're left with is experiencing these things, that other baby is experiencing them too. Especially if y'all had a good relationship and y'all had a good bond, which we did, right? So today we pretty much was just touching on the psychological damage of the other children that's left behind. Like, how hard would it have been for him to continue on with how we had things? Like the routine we had. Her staying with me Monday through Friday, staying with him on the weekend, partially the summer, me dropping her off every Friday, picking her up from school Monday. This is what we did. She was going into her 11th grade year. What if he would have allowed her to still stay with me, not plant seeds and poison, and just allowed us to continue to do what we were doing for those last 2 years until she graduated and went off to school? How hard would it have been for him to do that? We've been doing it the same for years. It shouldn't have been that hard. Nothing in my life was stopping me from continuing on with that. Actually, the night we got into it, I was on my way to pick her up so she can prepare for school Monday. Same routine that I've been doing for years. Yeah, so nothing stopped me. I had lost that job, but I still had income. Remember? Because I got the youth program, I got the cleaning company, I got the radio show. So, yeah, nothing stopped me from being able to still take her to school. And so what would be the reason? So with my plan A, with the cleaning company, what if the kids were still working with me for those last 2 years? Yeah. What if they had the same amount of buildings that I had? Right? And what if them having their own buildings, they were in the process of hiring people to work for them? Right? So now I'm teaching my children how to work their business. Right? So now they're hiring people, they're putting people in place. So now they're pulling out same as me to where they don't have to clean no more. Yep, if we would have continued on our path, by the time it was time for her to go to school, she would have been going to school, but she would have had at least 9 buildings of her own where she had employees that would have been able to still produce money for her while she was away at school. Right? Those last 2 years, the daughter was still, my oldest was still in nursing school. What if she still stayed in nursing school? Jesus. What if she still stayed in nursing school? And while she was still in school and while the baby was still here before she went away, they were still helping me with the youth program. So now they're training the mentors to take their place so they can pull out and pull away from the youth program. But yet and still, now they got people in place to still help me run this youth program these last 2 years while the baby was still there. Right. And since they were in charge of my social media, they would have been able to run my social media wherever they at. The baby would have been able to run it while she at school. So I'm still growing and the business still growing. Everybody's still doing. The money that we would have generated from the cleaning contracts, they would have been able to invest in their own businesses. Fix it, Jesus. That's only if he would have just allowed things to just stay how they were. So why he made such a big fuss to pull the baby away, I still don't understand. I still don't know what I've done. Yeah. So y'all just said I got to go work. Y'all enjoy y'all day. I'm out. Hey, Kendrick. Hey, Roderick. Brother Roderick. It's time for a new project, Brother Roderick. Hey, Charles. How you doing?